大家好，欢迎观看 You 的 Mandarin。今天我们要讲到的是非常重要的一个技术，很多人都是特别恐怕写汉字，但是你多练，那你就不怕咯。Alright, so today what we're going to talk about is one of the most important skill sets that you need to have in Mandarin, and that is writing. Why is it so important? Well, because if you don't know how to write and you don't know how to read, then how are you going to use the dictionary effectively? I promise you, though it's a lot of work, there is so much information available to you inside of Chinese characters. So if you learn them, you put in the work slowly, bit by bit by bit, then you will get there. And once you arrive, think about how magnificent it will be. So today what we're going to use is a magical tool. Here we go, and it's a notebook. It's not so hard. Anyhow, but it's very important. And so I'm going to show you how I use my notebook, how I set it up, and the techniques that I've used over the past 10 years to help make Chinese characters stick in my brain. I know a lot of you are going to look at Chinese characters and be like, it's chicken scratch. It's not chicken scratch. There's a lot of information available inside of Chinese characters, and if you know how to break them apart, it makes them much easier to read. Today's episode is going to focus mainly on how to use the notebook. Other episodes are going to help you more on how do you break characters apart. So without getting into all those crazy little details, let's get into how to use the notebook right now. Okay, so all you need is a notebook just like this, and you also need a pen, of course, that's simple. So this right here is just lined paper, but I don't want to hear any excuses. All you need is a straight edge or a ruler, and then boom, you can just lay in some lines like this. So what you want to do is just draw parallel lines, try and make something like squares. So this is actually a pretty good size, the size of this ruler. So I'm just going to draw lines on both sides of the ruler. So now that we've got these kind of grids, what we're going to do is we're going to write a character inside of a box about this size right here. We're going to write whatever character you are working on at the moment. So I will use shuo. You've got shuo, which is your first character, whichever character you feel is relevant. Then what I suggest doing is writing the pinyin under it. So shuo. That's a U. My handwriting is terrible, but whatever. And then we're going to write the tone. Now, pinyin, you write the tone over one of the vowels. But because the tones are so important, I also suggest writing the tone nice and large above the character and then circling it. For some reason, circling the tone mark makes it easier for me to remember. So when I'm reading Chinese books, I will actually, when I see the character, if it's a character that I don't know, or if I'm a little bit hesitant on the pronunciation, I'll write the pinyin under it, and then I'll write the tone marking above it. If I know the pinyin, but I can't remember the tone and I look it up, then I just write the tone mark. So make sure that you've got the tone mark. You can write it above and on the character. I suggest having it more often than not, because the more times you see the mark, the easier it is for you to remember the tone. The more you write the pinyin, the easier it is for you to remember. But you also have to force yourself to rely on your own memory. So here you go. We've got the character in one of these boxes, we've got the tone above it and circled, and we've got the pinyin. Okay, so I hope that that was helpful for you, and now you have some ideas of how to use your notebook. So what I suggest doing is today, as soon as you finish this episode, you go find 5 or 10 words that you know that you use every day that you would like to learn in Chinese, find them in Chinese and write them down in your notebook. It's that easy. So it may seem difficult at first, but you have to get into the swing of things. And what I mean by that is the more that you use this notebook and the more that you find what words stick in your mind and how you need to write them for them to stick for you, the better you're going to be able to use your study habits and this particular technique. Do you have to study my way? No, you need to study your way, but this is a benchmark, okay? This is a way that has worked for me, and it's something that I've adapted over the past 10 years. It fits my style. You need to find what fits for your style. So what I'll say is that I've got a stack of notebooks about this big that I filled over about 6 years in China that are just filled page to page to page to page with practice characters. The more you write them, the more your hand figures out how it needs to write the characters, and the more you go through that process, the more they are likely to stick in your brain. It's kind of like one of those crazy curves, okay? So when you start at the beginning, it may not feel like you're getting a lot of progress, but the more you do it, the more progress you will get. Why? Because your hand and your brain somehow start talking to each other like they weren't previously. Anyhow, so I'll keep today's episode nice and short, and I'll say, 加油, good luck. Hey, there you go. That's an excellent set of words for you to go practice. I'll put them up here. 加油. It means good luck. 再见.